Welcome to Silent Crime Case, where we dive into the darkest and most baffling true crime stories. Today, we explore the tragic and complex case of Emma Reynolds, a 35-year-old marketing professional whose seemingly perfect life came to a horrifying end. What happened behind the closed doors of her picture-perfect home, and who was responsible for this shocking crime? Stay with us as we unravel the mystery of obsession, jealousy, and betrayal that led to Emma's murder. Emma Reynolds lived in the quiet suburbs of Portland, Oregon. She was a successful marketing manager at Synergy Solutions, a well-known firm where she was respected for her dedication and warm personality. At 35, Emma had built a reputation for being both driven and approachable. Her colleagues admired her not just for her work ethic, but for the kindness she showed to everyone around her. Balancing a demanding career, Emma also had a passion for the outdoors, hiking, camping, and weekend getaways to Mount Hood. With her family were her greatest joys. Emma was married to David Reynolds, a 38-year-old software developer. Together they had two children, Olivia, aged 9, and Ethan, aged 7. The family often took trips to national parks, where Emma loved teaching her children about nature, sharing stories around the campfire, and creating lasting memories. By June 2015, Emma's life appeared to be at its peak. She was up for a big promotion at work, a position she had been eyeing for years. To celebrate, she was planning another camping trip with her family, a weekend getaway to the Oregon wilderness. Emma's family, friends, and colleagues all saw her as a woman who had everything under control. But beneath this seemingly perfect life, hidden cracks were beginning to form. As Emma prepared for what seemed like a bright future, no one could have guessed the turmoil she was facing at home. Over the past year, her relationship with David had become strained. David had recently become fascinated with unconventional relationship dynamics, and he had been pressuring Emma to explore these ideas. Specifically, David had suggested that they engage in a wife swap arrangement with another couple, Sarah and Kyle Whitman, friends they had met through a local social group. Emma was deeply uncomfortable with the idea, but not wanting to disrupt their marriage, she reluctantly agreed. However, the arrangement quickly soured, creating tension between Emma and David. Sarah, a 32-year-old yoga instructor, had developed a fixation on David, which made the situation even more volatile. Emma, feeling increasingly trapped and unhappy with the arrangement, began to distance herself from the entire situation. But she had no idea just how dangerous things would become. As the weeks went on, Emma confided in a few close friends about her marital issues. She expressed how uncomfortable she was with the lifestyle David had introduced into their relationship, and how she regretted agreeing to it. She told her friends she planned to end the arrangement and confront David about her feelings. But behind the scenes, Sarah had been pushing harder for David to leave Emma. Her fixation on David had grown into an obsession, and Sarah saw Emma as an obstacle to the life she fantasized about with David. The weekend before Emma's death, she had an argument with David about the wife swap arrangement. She told him she was done with it and wanted their life to return to normal. David, frustrated but resigned, seemed to agree. Emma felt a brief sense of relief, but it was short-lived. On the morning of July 10, 2015, David Reynolds woke up at 6:30 a.m. to get ready for work. As he rose from bed, he realized Emma wasn't beside him. Assuming she was downstairs making coffee or preparing breakfast, he headed to the kitchen. But as he descended the stairs, nothing could have prepared him for what he was about to see. Emma was lying on the living room floor, lifeless. She had been beaten to death with it. The violent nature of Emma's death suggested it was personal. There were no signs of forced entry, which indicated that Emma likely knew her killer. David, as Emma's husband, was the first person detectives questioned. David, visibly shaken, told the detectives how he had found Emma's body that morning. He explained their recent marital issues, but denied any involvement in her death. Still, in cases like this, the spouse is always a prime suspect, and David's grief-stricken state didn't exclude him from suspicion. As the detectives continued their investigation, they uncovered the details of the wife swap arrangement. The discovery of this unconventional lifestyle added a layer of complexity to the case. The detectives' attention quickly turned to Sarah Whitman, the woman involved in the arrangement. From interviews with friends and neighbors, detectives learned that Sarah had developed an unhealthy obsession with David. She had repeatedly tried to convince him to leave Emma, and when he refused, tensions mounted. Sarah Whitman was brought in for questioning on July 12, 2015. At 32, she was well known in the community as a free-spirited yoga instructor who taught classes at a popular studio in downtown Portland. But during her interview, Sarah's calm demeanor cracked. When asked about her relationship with David, Sarah admitted she had feelings for him. She had tried to convince him to leave Emma, but she denied any involvement in the murder. She claimed that on the night of the crime, she was at home with her husband Kyle watching a movie. However, Sarah's alibi seemed shaky. No one else could confirm her whereabouts that night, and her obsession with David painted a troubling picture. Detectives couldn't ignore the possibility that Sarah, fueled by jealousy and frustration, had taken matters into her own hands. Kyle Whitman, Sarah's husband, was also questioned. Kyle, 35, worked as a personal trainer and was known for his outgoing personality and dedication to fitness. He seemed genuinely shocked by the events and told detectives that his marriage to Sarah had been strained ever since the wife swap arrangement began. While he claimed to have been with Sarah the night of the murder, detectives weren't entirely convinced of his innocence. They now had two suspects with potential motives, but no clear answers yet. Just when the investigation seemed to be stalling, a major break came on July 15, 2015. A neighbor walking her dog in a nearby park found something unusual under a bush, a small duffel bag containing a blood-stained hammer and a pair of gloves. Alarmed, she immediately called the police. Detectives arrived at the scene collecting the items as evidence. The hammer appeared to be the murder weapon, and the gloves were sent to the lab for DNA analysis. As they waited for results, Detective Porter couldn't shake the feeling that this new evidence would crack the case wide open. When the results came in, they were startling. The blood on the hammer matched Emma Reynolds, and the DNA inside the gloves was none other than Sarah Whitman's. The detectives also recovered fingerprints on the hammer, which matched Sarah's as well. It was the smoking gun they had been looking for. With this evidence in hand, detectives moved quickly. Sarah Whitman was arrested at her home later that day. At first, she maintained her innocence, claiming that the items had been planted and that she had nothing to do with Emma's death. But the evidence was overwhelming. As detectives interrogated Sarah, the true motive behind the murder began to unfold. Sarah had become obsessed with David and was determined to remove Emma from the picture. After David refused to leave his wife, Sarah's jealousy and frustration boiled over into violence. She went to the Reynolds home on the night of July 9, 2015, armed with a hammer, intending to confront Emma. A heated argument ensued, which quickly escalated into a deadly assault. Sarah, in a fit of rage, bludgeoned Emma to death with the hammer. She then tried to clean up the scene, disposing of the murder weapon and gloves in the nearby park, hoping to cover her tracks. But her obsession had clouded her judgment, and she had left behind too much evidence. The trial of Sarah Whitman began in October 2016. The courtroom was filled with reporters, community members, and Emma's grieving family. The prosecution laid out a strong case, detailing Sarah's obsession with David, her growing jealousy toward Emma, and the OVI. Kyle Whitman, devastated by the betrayal of his wife, moved to a new city to start over, leaving behind the painful memories. The community of Portland was left reeling from the shocking crime. Emma Reynolds' death served as a stark reminder of the dark consequences of unchecked jealousy and obsession. Thank you for watching Silent Crime Case. If you're intrigued by real-life mysteries like this one, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. Have a case you'd like us to investigate? Share your thoughts with us. Stay safe, and remember to always stay vigilant, true crime lovers.